So good evening and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne. We are here and we're live in the studio for what is going to be our first trip over and across to the islands of Makuri, into the very favourite spot for riding into Tokyo, into Japan. And guess what? It's a route that we've never done before. This should be really, really exciting because we've never been around this one on the Donny Chaingang. It should be fun. Before we get there, a couple of bits of heads up for people who are maybe just watching, joining us. First of all, good news. Women's Wednesdays on the Donny Chaingang. So Women's Only Wednesdays on the Donny Chaingang, otherwise known as WOW DCG. It will be kicking off. The dates will be coming out to you hopefully tomorrow, as well as some of the links. So, guys, remember, make sure you keep your eyes on the Facebook page. That's where the news will come out first, along with emails to members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. A massive thank you to everybody who has rejoined the DCG gang, particularly those people who have gone and taken the plunge and jumped in for the multiple months at a time, which is fantastic to see. It's going to be great news. Now, I'm not going to be here on Thursday. I've duties to do down at the wonderful venue that is Brands Hatch, a relay race around the circuit for 12 hours and an 8-hour race with VU events. So it doesn't mean that you're going to have a break from my broadcasting on Thursday. We are back, of course, with the XCE Mountain Bike World Cup Eliminator on Sunday, and then the wonderful hill climb, which is going to be up at Hardwick Hall, nighttime hill climb immediately afterwards. There's both on the Sunday as well, and then back in on Tuesday's Chaingang, and lots more great routes. Well, one man who is back with us after Jimmy Allen's pulling on the bear suit yesterday is Russ Downing, and hopefully we're going to be able to catch up with Russ very shortly. Hopefully he's on the other end of the line. Let's see if we can get him out and live on the Chaingang. Who knows what will happen with the wonders of modern technology, but in theory we will find on the other end of here is the one and only Russ Downing.
Hey, oh.
Hey up indeed.
How are you, mate?
I'm all right. I'm just doing a little bit of knobs and faders tuning to try and get you as loud or not too loud, but we'll see. It's kind of warm, mate. What have you done to the weather?
Must have brought it back from where'd I go? Well, I went to Harrogate. It wasn't that warm up there.
Well, I hope it wasn't that warm in Harrogate. That's for sure. It's I know it does get warm in Harrogate, but not normally this warm. So a bit of a mini heat wave, and going to be a day for having those fans engaged, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I've had them on since 3 o'clock or something. So yeah, they're all firing. I've just done a good warm. I've just been on G and Luke Rose what's occurring so-so ride that was a bit tasty at times. Luke got dropped obviously, and then one of the older the fat cyclist jumped on the last 5 minutes just to join the Welsh party. Really
excellent, love it, and yeah, he's on form, but I'm not sure this is territory for Mr. Mason, is it? Because this is a really tough route. We'll go into the details when we pull up the summaries, but it is pretty tough. It's going to be good news for some and bad news for others, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just obviously we were online. We just had a catch up, and he asked what the route was. He'd never done it, so I said, "Oh, brace yourself, mate." But I'm sure he'll be fine. You know, he's absolutely flying on Zwift, and sounds like he had a good team time trial thing down at Goodwood at the weekend, and he had a good one down there. So yeah, he should be in good shape. But you know, it's going to be warm, so you know we always say stick on the pace, because if anyone goes off, we're going to absolutely blow a gasket. So we need to control it, and we don't want to go anywhere too much on a hot day. And as a pain cave, he said we could be out there on the road, but you know, we're all crazy, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely a little crazy, but it is all about being in. It's convenient, it's quick, and of course it's a new route. And I know that Maddie Smith actually went. I don't care if it's sunny. We've got a new route on the DCG. I'm coming and I'm joining. And Maddie was on some fearsome form at the weekend. She was actually fourth overall in the cyclocross race for the Notts and Derby, and was absolutely demolishing. She was basically behind three of the brightest talents that we've got in the UK. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Maddie gets on as we head off. So, Russ, we're going to let you go brief the troops. And it sounds like you've got a gale in the garage there with all the fans on. So hopefully it'll keep you cool.
Yeah, I've got one on full speed and then one on heart rate. So obviously the one on heart rate's not doing much at the minute, but I'm tempted whether to just put them both on full speed. But I like to have one controlled by the heart rate and then see the numbers. It's an extra gauge, isn't it? When your fan's on two blue lines, then you know you're halfway to blowing.
Oh, sure, we haven't got an insight on those and a little cam rolling, but you never know. We'll see. Well, hopefully we'll catch up with you in a little while, and good luck, Russ.
You don't want to know what gear choice I've gone for?
Not yet. Not yet. Well, so I was saving that one for a little bit later.
I did have to check and think, oh, what gears have I got on? So,
you got a low one.
I've not got that 70 on yet, so
good man.
I'll take that might change it for the downhill.
I don't think I would. I think I'll be leaving it. Let's see how we go on, and yeah, good luck, mate.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
So great to catch up with Russ there, and as you can tell, Russ got his fans on full belt already. Sounded like he was in a storm there, pretty much. Well, it's only going to get louder because he is currently going to be baking, as are most people, I think, tonight. Hopefully, everybody's going to be able to keep it together. So let's dive across to the map and let's show you where we're heading, because we're going into the wonders that is Chain Chomper on the Makuri Islands. Now, the Makuri Islands are one of the new part of the Umezi launch, which is basically the Japanese islands. This is a great, tough course. I say great, it's great if you're happy to really give it a big beans on the way up. It divides into essentially 5 parts. You've got the lower, flatter section, you've got the first climb, you've got the second climb, you've got the first part of the descent, the second part of the descent, and in. It is 2.5k of leading. We've got 3 laps at 13.6, which should give us, in theory, something in the region of 43.2k. Now, this is likely to vary because we've not been here before. We can't go back and check it on the various YouTube channel. We've done a lot of research. We've been checking it all the way around, but we'll see how it rolls. A massive thank you to the guys at Swift Hacks, and of course to Zwift Insider for the details. And of course, a big thank you to Chris Darby, one of our fantastic volunteers, who is our red beacon tonight, and he's going to have his work cut out, I think, on what is a tough route in tough conditions. Let's show you what this looks like. Now, it doesn't look too bad when you look at the map. It looks pretty innocuous, but remember, we're doing 3 laps of this. Yep, that is how tough it is. We go around this in an anti-clockwise direction, starting off on the flatlands at the bottom. We then go up the first section of climb, up the second section of climb to the high point. We drop back down again through the steepest section, then onto the descent, and then back in and round the flatlands. Now, each lap being 13.6. This is tough stuff. If you want to know how tough, grab yourself a subscription. Get onto Velo Viewer. Brilliant, brilliant data and statistics. And we've got to say a massive thank you to Ben and all of the team who are on the Velo Viewer squad. They are the guys who keep the stats all together. We've got to say big thank you to them. So let's see how it is going to roll. Remember, the aim of this is to roll with the yellow beacon and to hold that yellow beacon in touch as we head out and around this circuit. So you can translate that back onto the map here, up through the climbs, up the second section of climb, then dropping all the way back down again. 3 lots of that. let's see if anybody is going to stay and push the pace on once Russ gives the signal. And just noticing we've actually got our women's yellow beacon. And as we said, it's going to be a launch tomorrow. Heads up if you're watching tonight, you're going to keep an eye on Facebook tomorrow, because you are going to get some news coming out from Emma, who is our beacon. Now, the go, go, go is well and truly going. We're going to jump straight in with our red beacon, who is out. So you can see riders are out already on the route. If we pull up some stats for you, quick things to remember. Top of the corner, up there, 74 watts, the amount of power, number of revs, heart rate up there. Far side map, we're going to move that about. That is going to give us our 2D, our zoomed out, and our 3D version. Also, key to remember, big screen down the far side. That gives us all of the information from the riders around us. It tells us where the red beacon is, the yellow beacon is. It tells us how much power people are doing, how fast they're going as well. Along the bottom, just as importantly, if not more so, our fantastic sponsors. They keep the show on the road. They look after the members of the DCG gang, and it's the members of the DCG gang that mean that we can keep on broadcasting to you, that Russ can keep on bringing you the bear onto the rides. So please, guys, remember, make sure we need you all together and with us. Make sure you give us some support on the membership, and there's loads of great discounts on there, and some great plans for some great weeks where we're going to have some great giveaways for members of the DCG gang. You've got to be a member of the DCG gang as the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club to be in it, to win it. It's no good just riding the gang. We want to look after the people who are literally making it happen, which is good for everybody. So, quick heads up, ladies and gentlemen, look at your screen, look for the yellow beacon. If you can't see the yellow beacon, there's something desperately wrong, because you need to be looking for this man, for Russ, who is at the moment just being distanced by the guys on the front who are looking a little bit keen on the front. So let's dive in, let's see what's going on, what's occurring, as the saying goes, on the Donny Chaingang. So it looks like the gang just about starting to reform here on the Donny Chaingang live on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. Let's pull up the numbers here. A couple of people still off the back here. And this pack rolling along quite quickly here. It's a flat section as we come through and in towards the sprint, but already 3 riders at the back just having to work to try and close up the distance at the back. Let's take a little bit of a check back and see who is currently having to do a little bit of work at the back. It looks like Richardson and Woodall just having to do a little bit of a push here. Woodall on a mountain bike, interesting choice here as you go through. You must see he's going to get serious advantage when you get up on to the rougher terrain, but you've got to work really, really hard on the flatlands. Now, Derby, our red beacon, he's got Dorsey, the best dressed man in cycling, and oh, very nice, sir. Actually, I might have to forget that kit for my avatar. I'm really liking that. Very subtle. Not sure that how it quite works, but other than that, very, very tasteful indeed. So the best dressed man on the Chaingang does the business once again. Meanwhile, Mr. Richardson just waiting for Mr. Darby to give a bit of assistance here. And I think Woodall, just choosing to jump out, change bikes, jump back in, sir. Much easier, much quicker. Now, let's have a little bit of a check-up here. Looks like Jimmy Allen just sat on the back of the group, not doing too much. Remember, this is the standard, steady bit of warm-up just to get the group together. And where it is all meant to be nice and steady on the way through. So Jimmy Allen, the Bears' more famous cousin, as he is known, just out on the route and looking good at the moment. We're going to just take a little bit of a check. So remember, keep on watching Jimmy Allen, one of our key people on the Chaingang here. So riders currently on it and just keeping that group just about together. We're just going to try and get a little bit of a view in between the trees here. Just seeing a few people on the back, just having to put a bit of effort in. Russ just rolling around the back as well, just holding it all together. As the group is holding a pace up near the front, we're now heading on towards the climbs, and this is where the group have to be careful. They cannot afford to go too mad, otherwise they will start to distance the riders they are with. So the riders are just coming on to the climb. Let's just give you a quick look back across to the map. The software playing it. We've had to rebuild pretty much the entire broadcast. So as you can see, just coming on to the first of those red climbs, wiggling our way up the route. Back in with Jimmy Allen now, just keeping an eye as he goes up this climb. He's looking good. Let's drop back in and get some detail on that so we can just see Jimmy Allen in here riding well at the moment. And Jimmy just said he enjoyed himself on the on his day as Beacon. It's definitely always good fun to be Beacon. I've enjoyed it when I've done it on a number of Zwift rides, and always great to help people out, particularly on the way through. But the team looking good, just heading out onto this climb steadily on the way up here. It's only, I say only 2%, but this is the first part of the climb, and this is where things are definitely interesting. And the gang just starting to get warmed up on its way up here. So just going to keep a check on our red Beacon, who is just sat at the back of this pack as they make their way up. Some fantastic scenery here. We've got 3 laps of the course, and Chain Chomper, definitely tough stuff. So time for some coffee for me from one of our fantastic supporters of the Chaingang, Ben Jenko, back from the Vuelta, the man from Grand Tour Coffee. And good to see everybody there. Looks like we've got a few riders missing in action, and already getting a video from the Cornish coastline, just saying that didn't get away with bringing the turbo, but got away with bringing the live footage instead. Great to see. And hopefully it's not too jumpy. As just said, we had to rebuild pretty much the entire broadcast from scratch from yesterday afternoon. A reboot and a reformat of the computer system, combined with the reformat of the broadcast software, combined with a couple of other things, has meant that it has had to be pretty much rebuilt. But this fantastic scenery here in Umesi, and truly worth it. As you can see, our riders on these hairpin turns, climbing the way up nice and steadily. So just seeing a few of the riders just dropping back to our red beacon at the back, but pretty much all of the group back together as they work their way up through the villages and start heading up through on to the higher slopes. There's basically a plateau here in the islands, and there's a lot of the village based in it, but it really is an interesting route. All the routes very interesting to go on. So great to see the riders moving nice and smoothly. It's looking good out there. Good to see Craig Herring is tuned in and watching. So good to see Craig is with us in spirit somewhere. I guess he didn't actually make it back on time this time round. So it looks like our red beacon just having a couple of issues. Riders jumping in and out from our red at the moment, and that's usually an indicator that things are getting a little bit interesting for him. Let's just jump across through to some of our other riders. We're just going to keep an eye because it does look like it is starting to break up quite dramatically at the moment on the climb. Two very distinct groups. So gaps opening up, and good to see Mr. Woodall has managed to jump back in. He's changed bikes and gone to a road bike. Now, I must admit I would be going for a road bike on this, only because I prefer the speed. When we are heading down onto the tarmac, I'm pretty confident that I've got the power, but I haven't got the fitness to stay with people. So the power for me would work, so I wouldn't need to worry about the off-road section, but the fitness on the road section is definitely been major trouble. So for me, it'd be a road bike, even though it's a climbing course with some deep rims. And you can just see a real mixture of bikes out there. Plenty of Tron bikes, which is still lots of people's favourite choices. So up onto the slabs we go, and this is where the riders are really onto the big climb. This is very cool, as Russ says. Gotta love this slope as we come up here. So you can see the roads that we've been on earlier on, and as we come up these fantastic slabs, heading up this climb, the riders working really hard to keep it together. Great Chaingang so far, guys. So some great views. You can see Mount Fiji in the distance as we come around the side of the temples, around the side of the pagodas. So top of climb number 1 done. Now on to the second part. So already heading out and round. Let's drop you the map back in. So as you can see, steadily working our way around. Now we use these roads extensively backwards and forwards, still just riding in with our red beacon. And as you can see at the moment, the rider's steadily climbing up. This is what we are looking for. Super smooth group together at the moment. So group going well, fantastically stuck together, blob stickier than a sticky thing on a sticky day. So on to part number 2 of the climbs. Let's just give you a quick refresh. Let's dive in. Let's hope we go straight in to the map. So we've gone up the steeper red section, now going around the black section before we go up onto the second part of the climb. So take the right hand turn, you can just see starting to head our way. We come around the U-turn, we've got the left and left, and then we start to go up on to the gravel section. A very, very tight chain gang today. Everybody riding well, and it was always good when you come out on a new route. Lots of the people looking like they are wanting to keep it together tonight. You can see Neil from the Crosscast in here. And great to see him in action racing. He was looking good at the weekend racing cross. Mr. Mason is in here as well. Kieran Smith as well. Vin Donahue in the gang. Just having a quick look. Mr. Martin Bolt in here. Maddie Smith in. Lone Riders in the gang. Ozzy K is in here as well. Tom Elliott and Mr. Samuel as Russ leads them on to the gravel climb. Now, this is tight and horrible. There's just no other word for this. Not my favourite bit to ride, but definitely one of the reasons why we were hesitant to put it in. We have done a lot of the rising on the way through here, and it's very interesting. You can see how many watts you've got to squeeze here to push on here. It is a long, long climb up here. It's as long as the previous one, and that is one of the reasons why these riders really do need to pay attention all the way up. Not least of which because a few people are heading off cyclocross style off around the edges as well. Not because they've got steering, but because they get bounced out of the ruts. Not what you want to happen on your way up this climb. Neil coming back. He's had plenty of cyclocross practice. Looking forward to recording the next episode, the first episode of Season 5. Yes, it's going to be Season 5 of the Crosscast. It's coming your way live from Neil, from me, and from Bruce Dalton. And it is going to be coming out to you. We're recording it next week. I'm really looking forward to that. Now, a little bit of a moan from Russ about being stuck in the gutter as we move on to the climb proper itself. Now, in a race, this is absolutely horrid. There's no other word for it. It's one of the reasons why we didn't want to be really tight on here. Now, has Mr. Woodall changed bikes? No, he stayed on the same one. Simon Runt's on the same one. Is he going to try and change bikes? It has been said that on Chain Chomping, you can change the bike twice. If you get the timing right, it is going to be tough stuff. So, here we go. It is on to the climb. Really brutal stuff. And as you can see, the wind just blowing in the trees from our helicopter. And we can see precisely not a lot of our riders from that view. Let's get the drone up in the air and see if we can get a better view of this group as we zoom out a little bit on this. So just taking a look, Mr. Woodall just coming back in touch here. And as we take a little bit of a spin round, just lined out at the moment as you go up this climb. So the guys on the front are going to have to be very attentive that they don't leave people behind as riders are really starting to fight their way up here. This is a real tough climb, particularly if you're a lighter rider. You don't get as much advantage necessarily, I don't think, is on this one as you would do normally. Not something I ever suffer with. I'm in the Gareth Mason school of being lightweight or not. Just watching Emma from AEO, the AEO race team. Emma choosing not to race tonight, but to come in and join us on the Chain Gang for the Umezi debut on the Donny Chain Gang. We're going to find her. She's in the middle of this group somewhere. There we go. So Emma in the AEO race strip, nicely in the middle of the group, and going to be super smooth on the way up here. Hopefully she's going to be leading our women's chain gang, the women only Donny Chain Gang. It's women only Wednesdays, and that will be kicking off very shortly with all the dates, or number of dates, some of the route details, how to join it will be coming out, and that is for all of our female riders only. So please keep an eye on your emails if you're one of our female members of the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club, the DCG Gang. You will get the most details first, and then after that it will spread its way out and around the rest of the gang. So Emma from AEO on that yellow Tron bike in the middle of this group, and ticking away nicely, nearly 90 revs per minute. Just watching Russ, our yellow beacon in the Tuesdays and Thursdays, the man who keeps the group all together, or tries to, as the boar runs up alongside the riders at the moment, chasing the bear. My money's on the bear, not on the piglets behind, that's for sure. I think the bear will be eating the piglets for breakfast. So around the turn, the group not too spread out, still a little bit distance from front to back. We're looking currently at about 7 seconds from front to back of the group, and that's starting to stretch as we continue up this climb. But at the moment it's looking good out there, and these riders working well. Not too many big gaps at the moment. So running ride-ons onto our riders at the moment. Always good to see as the riders make their way up this slope. A little bit of a gap opening behind the yellow beacon. Back to our red beacon at the moment. You can see still continuing to climb up. Not too far to go. Good indicator. You can just see on the right-hand side of the screen the bridge coming up. As you come into these rocks, you know you haven't got too much more ascent. If we pull in the screen, you can just see we're coming up towards those zigzags, and the bridge you can actually see coming across is actually after 2 right-hand turns time, and that will show where the distance is now. Russ having put on some selective gearing for this. Let's jump into where Russ is. Let's have a look at Russ. Russ's heart rate already kicking up over the 100 beats a minute mark, and as he makes his way up here in front of Mr. Leary. Good to have you back with us, sir. Looks like Chris Darby just holding the back of this group nicely again. So Darby, one of our regular riders on the Donny Chaingang, and good to see Chris taking on the duties of Red Beacon. Just like the Tuesdays and Thursdays, the women's Chaingang will be having Red Beacons. It'll have the same format as we have on the standard Chaingang. So the group working well, and just following Stefano Borelli, the man from Nonnas, who has helped us keep it all together now. The gang nicely up here. It's a little strung out at the moment, but the numbers aren't silly mental up on the front. Really interesting to see people's bike choices paying off or not paying off here. So the guys on the front generally are rolling at about 2.5 to 2.7. The guys at the back at the moment rolling from 2.3 to 2.5. So hardly any difference, but very easy to see just what's happening. The slight differences in pace starting to gap riders behind. You can just see here Stefano Borelli alongside the best dressed man in cycling, Nick Dorsey, on his way up this slope. So Dorsey in the purple, just being passed here by Woodall, going through Stefano Borelli in that camo outfit. Mr. Leary in the pink with the grey is going to be just in front of Emma from the AEO squad in that AEO kit. What else would an AEO rider have? They actually had their 1 year birthday last year. So on to the first of the wooden bridges at the top of the climb for the group as they come up here. And you just see them making their way up over and across the wooden bridges and making their way out. Still plenty of road to go. They're going to do these zigzags back across the wooden bridges. So lots of very big scenery around, lots of huge trees, lots of things that you won't necessarily find quite to this scale in the real world, but great to have another new world. And the Makuri Island is proving very popular with rides and with riders. Not always suits all of the Chaingangs, but expects it to feature as we play with the routes and ride them in various different formats, in different directions, with different paces of group as well, because it does change how it feels on that as well. So the group picking up pace, fractures happening, so everyone needs to be looking in the rear view mirror at the moment, trying to make sure everything comes back together. In through the dust, through the top of the King of the Mountains. Let's just pull the map up so you've got a little bit of reference to this. So we'll pull up first of all the Zwift map. You can just see starting to head down and on the way down. So the group well and truly spread out. Going to need a little bit of bossing from Russ up on the front. Let's just quickly pull in the map for you at the moment. So the map's showing that we're just at the top. We now have this section where we roll back down the far side. So as you can see, the rider's going to be dropping back down fairly quickly here. Currently just on the roller coaster across the top, but still riders being bounced about everywhere here. Sean Ferron and Mr. Woodall, well, they're at the back of the group, and in fact from the back to the very front at the moment it's about 5 seconds, so not too bad, but looking pretty smooth. So just keeping an eye on Mr. Woodall here. Just 5 seconds down, needs to push here to get into the groups. As the regular riders know, it's about keeping all together as you come down. You can just see this group well and truly spread out here as they drop down these slopes. It's about sitting on the wheels. This descent, very easy to break up. You can see the amount of dust and debris being taken out from these riders on the way down here as they come through. Really dusty, very difficult to see where the gaps are, see how much work you need to do to chase on. And at the moment, this whole race is spread out, doing a very good job of replicating a Paris-Roubaix at the moment. I think on this descent, dust and dirt and debris everywhere. So the red beacon just starting to be distanced increasingly from the main group. I think we're going to see a regroup as we get in towards the bottom. Steadily dropping down this slope at the moment, heading away from the top. We've got 2 sections. We've got the off-road section that the riders have just completed. And then they're going to be on to the tarmac section. You see our riders just heading around above the village at the moment. Those 2 pillars of like a yellow and red beacon. Just sitting with our red beacon, Chris Darby at the moment. Just got a little bit of work to pull people back into that main group. The front group hopefully just easing off. So a real split occurring on the way through there, making a difference to this group as they roll down. This is a chance for the back to push right on into the front here. This is where you need to be giving it some beans on the way through, because if you can keep on pushing, this is where you'll get back into the pack across these long bridges before you hit the next descent and the front starts to sprint away once again. You can just see behind our red beacon at the moment, a couple of riders just having to work hard to try and catch back on here. Stefano Borelli and Richard Woodall both distanced on the way over the top. The bigger distance currently back to Woodall rather than Borelli, but those gaps open up so fast on this course. So just watching Brad Cheeseman on this flatter section. Just going to see if we get a bit of a regroup here. It's going to keep a check here. Stefano Borelli is on here, and I think the yellow beacon going to make sure everyone gets on. So Darby and Richardson, Keith Richardson again. Definitely Spirit of the Chaingang award for this man. Every time moving super fast, going back, keeping everybody into the game. Then it's Mr. Borelli. Looks like Woodall at the moment at 2.6 watts per kilo. Distance by that main group, 33 seconds, but it's a long old gap. So it looks like Mr. Woodall, a little bit of pushing it on as you come over the tops will keep you back in. I think we're going to see Darby, Richardson and Brady pushing to keep this back in again. With the numbers that Woodall is pushing out, he should have been well into that group. I think there's probably going to be a tech reason behind him being distanced. So here we go. Borelli on the back here, steadily coming in towards that leading group as they come into town. Just flick that map into 3D view. And you can just see Russ waiting to get the group back together again. Time to blob up, make it sticky, guys. You need to regroup now. We've got about 6 seconds up to the front group from Russ's pack at the moment. Russ helping Richardson and Darby, along with Canham, who's just back in this group. So the group just working to get back on to the back of the pack. If we flick it up to a 2D view on the map, you can just see coming out of town. So Russ nicely on his way out of town here. This is a little bit of a drop out, and then you come back out again. Those people who are members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, you'll know exactly where the start and the finish are. You got it on your emails. So the gang are working to get back in. Looks like Mr. Craig Genther dropping back to help out as well. That front group just rolling super quick at the moment. That's a nice pack here. So the yellow beacon group looking good. Looks like working well together. Just coming up onto the back of the pack. Let's get up in the sky here. We get a better view of this group coming together. So this is the yellow beacon and red beacon groups all together. You can see that gap in front of Genther at the moment as he starts to pull back towards that leading group. If we take a little bit of a look back, you can just see the distance behind him as he works to bring everybody back together. And you can just see coming back underneath the gantry. So there we go. Mr. Mason, that is indeed the country sprint green arch that you've just gone underneath. It kind of tells you on the sign. Right, let's have a little bit of a double check at the back of this pack. Is it all back together again? Well, it looks like Mr. Mason's off the back at the moment. He'll soon be back in touch. So it looks like Richardson along with Coos looks doing a lot of work around the back here. OCK in here. Dr. D in with the group as well. So the only rider distanced is Mr. Woodall, who, despite these huge powers that he's been putting out, he's not able to get back in touch. Some weird things going on there tonight. That's definitely, if I was Mr. Woodall, I'd be making sure I do a reset, a calibration, and an update on the turbo trader, on the computer, and on all of the software you've got. So if you're using a power crank, make sure that you make the updates on there are made up to date. Make sure that everything is on there now. This is Mr. Darby. He certainly doesn't need to wait for a certain Mr. Kieran Smith, who's more than capable of getting himself back in touch. Here we go. Kieran just powering up from the back of the group, heading back on the way up to the front group very quickly. And you have the group around Russ holding together. Well, we're heading on the climb. Russ just holding around about just under the 100 beats per minute mark. And when Russ is on the 100 beats per minute mark, normally I won't do what I'm about to do. But you know what? Today might be a slightly different day because we're on a brand new route. We've gone on the route around the circuit. We've done one full lap here. The question is, with one full lap done, what does the bear think of the new route? Russ, what's your thoughts?
Sì, va bene, tutto a posto.
How hard is that course to keep together?
Molto dura. Excuse me, I was just talking Italian then, you know.
You think
the little stint with Stefano.
Well, you think it's I thought it's quite Italian in feel on the way round when I rode it. In terms of it's never flat. So if you ride anywhere around the lakes in Italy, in the northern Italian roads, they're a bit like this, aren't they? They're basically there's no flat. The bits in the valleys don't last very long before you're on another hill.
Well, you know, I always say I can't climb. I think that all spans from riding the Giro, just getting my head kicked in for 21 days. It was the hardest thing I've ever done on a bike, you know. Probably harder than the Saturday afternoon Chaingang, to be honest. But, you know, it is, yeah, it's a nice route, you know.
I think it's not.
Everyone's enjoying it. It's not easy.
No.
You would pick probably the longest one in time for a while, and in the hottest conditions. But you know, if we stay, we keep the fans good and stay calm, ride within. As we say, you've just put my heart rate at 10 beats per minute. So thanks for that.
Well, you know, we can't make it too easy for you when we're on the climbs. We give everybody a chance to get back on again. But everybody holding together and getting the feel of this circuit, and that's important, isn't it, when you're going to go race or you're going to ride, whether it's in real life or whether it's on Zwift. You've got to get to learn the circuit, to know where you need to work hard, where to back off, how to stay with the group, and that's just practice, isn't it?
I think there, like someone said earlier, you have to concentrate on it. Some circuits you can just do as you wish, you can move around, you're not in danger of getting dropped. But on here, there's some little pinch points, and it's good fun. I think we'll see. We'll see if everyone really enjoys it when they get to the end, but I think we might be coming back here.
Well, we'll see. Let's see what happens and whether we end up coming back. Great stuff, Russ. I'm going to let you get back to it, and whilst we're still on this climb and your heart rate doesn't go through the roof.
I dropped back down to 100 there then, nothing happening.
Apart from the group breaking up. See, some of these guys on the front just ticking on just that little bit, doesn't need much.
I guess, who is it? Oh, it's Tom, young Tom.
It's not just Tom.
And Tom's second wheel, and then Vince chasing him to give him a detention, I think. So,
I think so, yeah. Either that or crack him over the head with the ruler, which is what you used to get at school when I was in school. It's that long ago.
Gareth Mason's putting his two penneth in as well. He's fourth wheel, so yeah.
Yeah. And Dick Samuel at the front is. It's not all that long ago. Dick Samuel was having a hard time at the back. Now he's on the front, just giving it some beans. Good to see that Vin Donny remembers having scissors around the top of the head, and I definitely remember having a chalk duster, a board rubber thrown at me at pace when I was at school. Great things you've had thrown at any point in time. Definitely.
I don't know, yeah. I've had a few bottles thrown at me in bike races, but...
yeah.
we joked around there about Dick Samuel going. He was still You know, it was within. It was on 3 watts per kilo, so you know,
Yeah,
it was behaving, and it was
definitely. And he's
it's
quickly pulled it
playing the
back.
game.
It is. It's people are pulling it back, and it is working around together and working together to pull it. Because whilst we give the numbers, you only need to be a lighter or a slightly heavier rider than the average, and then all those numbers seem to just go out of the window, don't they?
Yeah, you know, we say 2s to 2.5s or 2.5s to 3s. You go over them as long as you're not smashing the bunch to pieces. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about keeping. And sometimes it's easier to go that little 1 or 1.2 watts per kilo harder, and it's smoother. So
Yeah.
you know, it's not all about the numbers. It's just about keeping the blood tied. And I think we're going well. And I don't know that I was shot off up the road, but he's going to get some claw marks on him later.
Well, it looks like Stefano just feeling the pressure just at the back here. Mr. Bolt, Chris Darby a little bit further back, but let's see how the guys are going. I'm going to let you get back and get back in control.
Just seemed all right, 118 beats per minute. Thanks, Matt. Won't me up.
Anytime. Cheers, Russ. Right, great to hear from Russ there. Let's dive back into the ride. Let's keep an eye on where everyone is at the moment. So, looks like the gang at the moment, Mr. Leary and Chris Darby at the back. Stefano Borelli just chasing on to the back of the group at the moment. You can see the riders in front just starting to stretch the gaps out a little bit here. Some serious power going on at the front of this group. Well, the pressure on the front of the group starting to distance riders. Looks like Tim Leary just currently sitting a little bit further back here. He's currently 9 seconds down on Chris Darby. Looks like Stefano Borelli about 24 seconds back. So Stefano on the way up this climb. He's got Tim Leary not too far in front of him, so these two can make a good group together as they work the way up here. Mr. Woodall's not all that far behind because Woodall just making his way around those turns as well. So Richard Woodall closing on to the group. The back of the pack is pretty fractured at the moment. So just riding in with Martin Bolt as we come through here. This is the back of the main pack here. A few riders behind in the shape of Tim Leary and Richard Woodall at the moment. Stefano Borelli just starting to be distanced. Mr. Woodall putting in a massive kick here at about 5 watts per kilo just to go over one of the slight rises. That looks like the Red Beacon just bringing those riders back in to the fold at the back of the pack. So as you can see, the two beacons just at the back of the group working well together as they come up this slope. Right, here we go, onto the dirt, the riders go. This is where it's going to fracture again. Now, this is only lap number 2 of 3 at the moment. And that front group just starting to distance both the red and the yellow beak. You just see Russ putting on a big push here just to move back up through the group. So it looks like Woodall just regaining the group after a big chase on there. So Woodall in the grey, chasing on some huge numbers on his way through. Bit further back, I think we're going to find Tim Leary just stuck on his own as he comes up on to the climb here. He's got a few people not too far behind. I think Stefano just about to make that turn onto the dirt here. This main group working well at the moment up onto what is the dirt road climb. A few riders doing a little bit of off-piste action, just getting bounced off the ruts. It's almost like a painting of purgatory at the moment. Very arty, drawn out, long, prolonged, suffering, one long chain of misery pretty much on this climb. Pretty, but a long chain of pain, that's for sure. Wonder if boars have the same memory span as a goldfish. This boar and piglet still haven't worked out. They're not going to catch the riders. Not going to get anything, any mileage out of them. Definitely no scraps to eat. At the moment, not too many scraps being thrown out to the main group. People on the front just stretching it out a little bit here. There's plenty of people feeling the pressure at the back. Jump in with one of our regulars, Ken Kerrigan. Where are you, Ken? Somewhere in here, in this little lot. Here he comes. Mr. Kerrigan, we'll get the drone rolling on it. Looking smooth at the moment, so good to see Ken Kerrigan from Chefret back in with us, a man who's recovering from the plague. Got Neil from the Crosscast just rolling up the side there, so Neil working well. Just out of the saddle there, putting a little bit of pressure on those pedals just to keep it tight. So it looks like Mr. Leary and Borelli both just tangling with the balls at the back. Neil from the crosscast just having a bit of a technical issue. He's just lost the cleat, he's lost the shoe, he's had a puncture on the toe. Neil's turbo riding is nothing if not dramatic. Meanwhile, Chris Darby working well on the climb. And Chris just keeping an eye on the riders. Ken Kerrigan just chasing on here. Going to have to put a bit of a chase on to get back in with the group. Looks like Emma, the women's yellow beacon, just going to need to squeeze up a little bit, because if they're not on as they go over the top of this climb, they're going to be in trouble. Chris Canham the same. Mr. Bolt just being distanced a little bit here. He's going to run in with Russ at the moment. Just see this group just fracturing across the hillside. So up over the top, and the gaps have opened. Going to just drop a little bit further back than our main group here. Just seeing the rider there, the women's yellow beacon, just starting now just to ease off the pressure. Definitely cooking in the second pain cave in the household. The first one's an audio cave, the second one is the proper pain cave. And looks like just easing off those pedals a touch here as she makes her way in. They'll drop some stats in on Emma at the moment. 145 beats per minute, 90 revs per minute. So it's at 2.2. I think likely to be seeing a group come through from behind. The main group up in front just continuing to push. You can just see Kusligs, Finn, Donahue and Co just coming up through that the top of the climb here. So Mr. Bolt chasing Emma, then it's going to be Chris. He's got Ken Kerrigan behind him, Tim Leary and Stefano Borelli coming together as a group. These two could be working together well here. Quite well matched riders, I think, at the moment. Ken Kerrigan is trying to go on it. Let's see if they can get up there. So it looks like Chris Darby's going to get company from the from Emma. I suspect Mr. Bolt is probably likely to be heading back towards Chris. Ken, time to push on, mate. Get onto that red beacon. This could be a really good working group of four. Emma, Martin, Chris and Ken. Let's take a run up the road. This leading group just sweeping down on these slopes. So it looks like Martin Bolt and Emma just regrouping here. They've currently got about 15 seconds on our red beacon, along with Ken Kerrigan. That's our dynamic duo here. And then behind them, and then it's going to be a further gap back, and this will be our next duo. This is Borelli in the front and Derby to the rear. These riders all distanced from that main pack, and we're just going to take a look up the road here. As we can see Sir Mr. Lindley here. Let's have a look and see where everybody is around. It looks looking very lonely for Mr. Lindley. So behind him, it looks like Woodall is there, and Tom Lindley just distanced by this main group here as they continue to push in and through. Back in with Woodall at the moment as they're coming in to town on this fast descent. So Tom Lindley getting frozen on the way round. It's a very snug group as they come down through this bridge, holding together well. Pace pretty hot here. Holding 57 kph on the 3% downhill. It's going to quickly flick back up again, but at the moment it looks pretty smooth for these riders. They make their way through. Jump in with Russ at the moment. So it looks like Dickinson and Lindley are going to be together here. Then it's going to be Emma and Martin, Chris and Ken. Looks like Neil from the Crosscast going to be working his watts himself in pursuit here. He's got some big watts to big time, gets to pull back after that stop. But the group working well, just doing with Jamie Pearson at the moment. Billy No mates in here, Darryl Chester in this same group. It's the ball in there, Russ looking good at the moment, 60 kph on the way into town. So coming round towards the end of lap number 2, some great shots from inside the bunch as we head through at 30 mile an hour, 50 plus kph. It's going to start dropping as we come out of town in between the big rock walls. It's going to come past the spawning points and down in towards completing lap number 2. Interesting choice of bikes from Russ there. Is that Russ going for lightweight wheels and narrow Pinarello frame. Could see Matty Smith riding strongly, just sitting on Russ's wheel on the way through here. These are riders on this run through the grasslands on the side of the islands. Not going to be long before they start pointing skywards once again. So it's going to be 1 lap to go as we hit the line this time. 1 lap to go as we hit the line this time. This is the finish. Next time through here, they are going to be flying. Remember, this is where we're going to see who is going to take the top spot. Remember, this is the finish line next time round. as Russ says. Murray Smith on fire. The Terminator herself back in action. Of course, former national cyclocross champion. Should be looking to take those titles back. The national series running throughout the season. Not sure whether Maddie's going to be doing all of those, but hopefully we'll see her in action at the national championships. They're going to be down at Ardingly. So be interesting to see how the Terminator goes down there. It's a good course put on by Dougie and all the gang. So Russ just starting to be distanced on this little left-hand turn here. It's really fast. You can't let gap go for a second. And it looks to me like Russ having to push hard to get that gap back. Quickly gets on the wheels. Brad Cheeseman just following in Russ's wheel tracks here. So just riding in with Daryl Touchall Waller. How's Daryl going to do today? Kind of Touchall Waller kind of terrain, tough stuff, little bit eclectic, little bit bumpy, big hill on the way up, big hill to descend with some brakes and some kicks on the way through. Should suit his power profiles of being able to kick harder, then rest and then kick again. And the go has gone, so now's the time for Daryl Touchall Waller to prove he can do this, because the go has gone, and already we are seeing people ripping it up on the front of the gang as they make the way up here. We're going to try and jump up at the road, and it's been Donny, the master himself, on the front, going to show the young students how it's done. An hour in, and still with a good 3/4 of this laps go up on to the climb. And this is where things are going to get interesting now. Mr. Pearson on the front, and Mason in this group just over these roller coasters coming into the big climb. But it looks to me like we're starting to see one or two of the new faces coming on. Don't forget, of course, that whilst these riders are all playing the game on the till the go, once those shackles are off, once we unchain them, it's up to them to see who is going to take this on. Mr. Drabble just jumping onto the back wheel. He's been running strongly most of the ride here. So can Drabble take this out? Is it going to be Pearson, or are the regulars, people like Kieran Smith, Gareth Mason, the fat cyclist, Daryl Touchall, Tom Elliott, Craig Genther, Mr. Taylor, Runner and co, able to take them on and do some damage here? It's Drabble, though, leading them up this slope at the moment, currently at 5.7 watts per kilo. Can he maintain this pace in around this turn he comes? Well, that heart rate's in at the 170s at the moment. Time to see if he can maintain this as they come up on to the slopes, and just being pulled back here by Russ. Russ going over the top here, just pulling the gap back and then easing up a little, then kicking again. Daryl Touchall coming up, just seeing 8 watts per kilo come out of Daryl in the pursuit of this group of 3. I think Russ has seen this as being a danger, with Kieran Smith moving up there with Drabble, and Touchall has seen the same. He's now moving up. Looks like Genter's on the move as well. So is OZK. So Drabble still holding the front here. Kieran Smith in this group. Craig Genther with that polka dot jerseys for the KOM on his shoulders. Drabble still doing the work on the front here. This group now starting to pull clear. Behind him, it's 6 seconds back to Tom Elliott. Elliott needs to push here. He's got Osman 3 seconds behind him, and Samuel in there. Jimmy Allen's in this group. Donny Hughes in this group, chasing a duo with Richardson. But they have to work just to get this group back. I don't think they're going to see Downing's group now. So at the moment, Downing, Smith and Drabble 1 second clear. They're chasing Tashul Waller. It's only a matter of 3 or 4 bike lengths at the moment. Then it's going to be Mason Genther, the duo chasing behind. You see Tashul Waller on that yellowy, bright, fiery Tron bike chasing that group down, trying to get the gap back. Drabble back on the front again. Puts in a new PR on the way up. There's just PRs being set everywhere. It's raining confetti at the moment on these riders. Elliott working his way up, and it is rider after rider who is getting snowed on at the moment. So you've just seen Simon run it now, pushing his running, going to set a PB on his way through. Run it goes through. Another PB for Run It. Taylor gets a PB. Osman, Billy Nomates, Richardson getting a PB. Samuels comes through. He gets a PB. Pearson, Donny, Cutie Bash on the way up here. They're going to get PBs as well, I'm sure, as they come through. They do indeed. Maddie Smith is going to come up. This is going to be a women's top spot here. Going to smash that 6:16 apart here. 5:07 for Maddie. Another PR on the way through. Chris Ball coming through, leading this group with Stevens. Dorsey chasing them. Now Ball goes through. His Ball getting a PR. Yes, he is. Stevens is going to do the same. Dorsey's going to do the same. Lone Rider, I think, is going to do the same. He's well on his way up here. Meanwhile, back up towards the front. Takes a little bit of running to get ourselves right up with the very front group. We've got to get them around these turns before we can jump in with Russ. So into the leading group we go. So at the moment, they've got a slight gap on Mason, who closes it down now. Mason comes back, makes contact. Craig Genther makes contact. This has now become a slightly bigger group here. Kieran Smith, Russ Downing, Pete Drabble, Gareth Mason, Tashul Waller, Craig Genther, all in this group. Everyone at the moment wanting to lead this out. Our 5 riders, I think it's going to be together, with one rider just pushing at the front, and that's in the shape of Genther. Just got to just jump across. We're a little bit on the fold of the map, as the saying goes. So we're going to drop a look back from Craig Genther here. He's continuing to push to try and open these gaps. Let's see if he can stretch this out. Down Tashul Waller closing onto the group, but now just being distanced again. Looks like Mason just being stretched out here. But here comes Drabble. Drabble onto the front. So Genther's going to have to work to get on to the heels of Drabble. Drabble sitting at 5.5, 5.7, 5.6. What's Kilo 5.9. Genther now puts a bit of a push in to jump onto the wheels. Russ coming up pace, as is Tashul Waller. Kieran Smith seeing the express train on its way up this hill. Well, looks like Russ at the moment just feeling the pace. He's at 7 watts per kilo, 6 watts per kilo back there. He's got Mason not all that far behind him at the minute. Looks like Chris Ball is on a bit of a ride here. So Ball closing up onto the wheels of Stevens and Dorsey. Mason now being distanced by this leading group. Downing pushes himself back up into contention. Nobody's able to maintain a crazy amount of watts on the front. Nobody wants to be the rider who gets distance at this stage. Just watching Russ cut in the corner there. We're sure he's not got steering on the bike. Taking the direct route. 10% part of the climb now really kicks in and then eases again. These 5 riders on the front. Genther now pushes hard. So Craig Genther just starting to stretch the gap out. He's got a second on Drabble, who's going to come out of those trees first. It should be Genther. It is Genther. That group behind him all together. So Craig Genther trying to open the gap on the rest of the riders fast downhill on the far side. But at the moment, the diminutive dot in the jersey out to the right, coming into that right-hand turn is Genther. Behind him then, Drabble, Tashul Waller, Kieran Smith, Downing, all very, very close indeed. So Craig Genther is continuing to push out this gap at the front of the group. Let's jump in with Craig at the moment. So keep a look behind and keep an eye out. He's got 5 seconds on that chasing group now. Craig needs to push, big style here. as he comes up. Make them work to close that gap back down again, because this is where, if you get into a rhythm and you can really start to stretch the riders behind you, are going to make life murderously hard behind. They're really going to have to fight. So just coming past the waterfalls and the gorge, just to our riders left, our right hand side. Looks like Genther continuing to keep that gap at 5 seconds to Drabble, 6 seconds to Tushel Waller, Downing and Kieran Smith. It's 19 seconds, 20 seconds back to Elliott and Mason. Run it at 49.55 to Taylor and Osmond. Inside a minute to Richardson. Then it's going to be Maddie Smith, the next rider on the course with Samuel. So Maddie clearly riding very strongly today. So the top of the Temple QOM and the KOM is the archway, top of the map. Onto the boardwalk we go here as Genther gets company here. So time to do a little bit of recovery, jump on the wheels of Drabble. Drabble goes on to the front here. Genther is just sat behind. Then it's Tushel Waller, it's Downing, and then it's Kieran Smith. And if these riders play it right, the three of them together should be able to close down the two in front on that descent. They've got about 5 seconds between Tushel Waller and Craig Genther. It's about 6 seconds up to Drabble on the front. So just watching Russ make his way over and across the bridge. He's got Tushel Waller about a second now. Kieran Smith being distanced a substantial margin at the moment. Craig Genther and Pete Drabble on the front. So Drabble and Genther in front of this chasing duo. Genther again pushing on hard here. So clearly got the bit between their teeth, taking the Temple Cure and both these riders behind them. Downing and Smith and Tushel Waller all coming through, but you can see 4:43 for Drabble, 4:44 for Genther. Behind them though, then it's going to be Elliott. Elliott should come in with a 5 minute time, 5:06 there, 5:16 for Mason, who's just come through on his heels. Then it's going to be a runner coming up towards the top of the course. Then it's going to be Taylor, Osmond, Richardson, and then Smith just coming on to the wooden bridges. She's got company not too far behind in Dick Samuel, along with Jimmy Allen, Mr. Pearson, Donny Hughes, Bash and Ball. But right up at the very front of the course, the riders who are leading this out now, opening up a substantial gap. It's Craig Genther and Pete Drabble working hard, and they've got to hold off the attentions of the riders behind. But Darryl Tushel Waller and Russ Downing are both sitting at 19 to 20 seconds behind. Kieran Smith at 35. Then it's going to be the big guns of Mason and Elliott at the moment. Now they really are going to have to work hard, these two, to try and pull back even Downing, who's at 35 seconds. Never mind Genther and Co, who are at 1 minute 18. So these are the two leaders on the descent now. Craig Genther, Pete Drabble. Genther in that polka dot jersey of KOM leader, then Drabble in the blue and red of the UK governing body. Just dropping down, taking that right hand turn. Drabble, of course, a rider who rides for the Works team. Keen time trial rider, and certainly a man who should be able to pace himself, but doing some recovery at the moment, trying to sit at the back, just watching those watts drop down. He's not wanting to go on to the front. He is just doing enough to just stay in the wheel tracks of Genther on the way. Genther puts in another dig here, so Craig Genther keeps on putting in a push every time it goes slightly uphill, just keeping the pressure on. 29 seconds to Tashel Waller and Downing. Just inside a minute to Kieran Smith. 1:31 to Mason and Elliott. The gaps are going out. So just down through the junction, heading over towards the next set of bridges. This is the 1-2 at the moment. Behind these riders, you can see it is still going to be Downing and Co, who are just trying to get in into the mix, but they are our two leaders. So as the map stabilises themselves, as all these riders come around the junctions, it's Genther again on the front here, on the offensive, just putting a kick in. Travel having to respond, picking up the pace, trying to get onto the back wheel once again of Genther. Genther puts a kick in as Travel comes alongside. The clock is ticking down, the mileage is ticking down. They're basically going to come down past the spawning pens and down in towards the far section, in towards the finish. It's a bit of a fast run in though. So they are going to have to pay attention here as they come down. Rather absorbing, these two. It's going to be interesting to see who takes this out. Will it be Craig Genther? Will it be Pete Drabble? Who's keeping the kick? Who's got the most left in reserve? A long old day at the office today. A 1 hour 18, and our leaders are not yet in and through the finish. I'm not sure who my money's on here. It's going to be very interesting to see who's going to take this. Genther, or will it be Drabble? Drabble's been working really hard, but he's been doing some big numbers. Genther, we know, is getting better and better and better. Tricky to choose between them. Behind them, 36 seconds to touch Waller and Downing. 1 minute now to Kieran Smith on his own. Then it's Mason and Elliott at 1:19. 3 minutes back to Taylor and Run It with Osborne for company. 3:28 will take you to Maddie Smith and 3:36 to Richardson. Dubash just inside of 4 minutes, leading through a big group. But as you can see, Russ Downing currently sitting at 41 seconds behind that yellow beacon, just about in sight in the distance. So I'm not sure whose your money's on. I don't want to put any bets on this one. Behind Tashel Waller and Downing is still sitting at 40 seconds, so that gap hasn't extended too much, hasn't dropped too much. Now onto this descent. So this is the run down in towards the arch. It's just about visible on the 3D map in the top right-hand side of your screen. Coming in, they're going to have about a K to go at this point. You can just see the sprint sign has just picked up the leaderboard on the left-hand side. Just riding in with Genther at the moment. Now the fastest time for this sprint was Pete Drabble last time. Is Drabble going to have this? He's a long way in front of Genther, but we know that Genther was not going and contesting those sprints. He was making the most on the way through. So as they come down the straight, you can just see these two riders clear of the rest. Top right-hand side of the screen, you can just see that gantry is going to come in real quick. Let's drop in with these two riders. Let's get the drone up and running. Now in goes the feather flag. The arrow is kicked in for Genther. The sprint is going to unfold. Remember, it's only 150 metres from the green line. In goes Genther. Drabble's responding. Drabble's up to 12.5 watts per kilo. He can't maintain it though. He's dropping power, and Craig Genther can see the gantry. Through he goes. What a ride by Genther. He takes victory there from Drabble. Drabble coming through. Great second place from Drabble there. Then it's on to Downing. Now comes Downing and Tatishul Waller. Who's going to take this between these two? Well, you wouldn't want to discount the bear. Has he got any growl left? As he had his claws pulled. Well, he's already gone for the arrow already. He's not on big numbers. He is now 10.8 watts per kilo. You can just see it's Downing who's just putting that big push in. He's going to come in and through the line, being chased there by Tatishul Waller. We're going to drop back then to Mason, because Mason has got Kieran Smith. This should be a good sprint. Who's going to take it from these two? Because Kieran Smith just starting to wind it up behind Mason. Oh, so tight on line. That is going to go back to a replay. Then it's going to be Tom Elliott. So big times out there. 1:21 at the moment for Elliott on his way through here. Elliott comes in and through. Not into sprint for that. Then it's going to be this group here. Now, who's your money on? The tricky one here. We've got Taylor, who's been right up at the front of affairs. Taylor sitting in third wheel. Now he's in second wheel. Runner is on the front here. This is the run in towards the finish. So Runner just jumping onto the back wheel here. You can see Osman on the right hand side. In with Simon Run It at the moment. So we've got Osman and Run It. You've got Taylor on that Tron bike. They're now coming in towards this long right hand turn. The gantry just hidden behind those green hills. Now it comes into sight. You can see it's 150 metres from this green side. Now's the time to kick as you come in. And it looks to me like Osman's got the boost on first. So it's going to be Osman who should take this. There's no time to react. So it's Osman who's going to come through. Then it's going to be Taylor. Then it's going to be a Runner. We're going to drop back to Keith Richardson after all that early work, helping out the riders in front. Keith now should get a fairly clean run in towards the finish. I wouldn't want to call the next group coming in. I'm already having a little look at those riders there. I think that's going to be a real interesting sprint in here. So just keeping an eye as they come through. Richardson's going to be our next rider in through the line. Behind him, the sprint is going to unfold. So Keith making his way in. Going to tick around this turn. He's going to see the green beacon that says he's on his way in. So the flashing green sign means now on his way in towards the finishing line here. Richardson putting in a big kick, 12 watts per kilo coming out of Richardson as he comes in and through the line. Great running by Richardson. So in we jump with Jimmy Allen and gang here. Are we going to see Maddie taking this lot out? Will the Terminator be able to smash them to pieces here? The run on is in. It's engaged. Who's got the power? Who's got the pace? Come on, Maddie. Let's show him how it's done here. So Maddie Smith can see the gantry coming, but a massive kick just come from Vin Donahue. Donahue leading this out at the moment. Jimmy Allen in second wheel. Now Maddie Smith starts to engage the power. So it's going to be the winner of this group. Donahue second is going to be Dubash. Then it's going to be Maddie Smith, the Terminator, coming through. Our fastest female rider, Dick Samul. Jimmy Allen coming through with Mr. Pearson as well behind them. Then Dorsey on this drop down out from town. And I think Nick on his own here. Hilbert chasing Stevens in front. Wallace a little bit further back. So this descent really has smashed them to pieces. And they are in ones and twos behind. So Dorsey on this rundown is into the flatlands. You can just see it's going to open up in front of him into towards that gantry. So some very, very quick riding. A tough day out of the office. So Dorsey in towards those right-hand turns that we'll see it opening up on the way to the line. Just starting to get a little dark out in Makuri Islands. Just see the front light from Nick just starting to shine on the tarmac. But Dorsey is going to be our next rider through. Then it should be Stevens, followed by Hilbert and then Wallace. So through goes Nick Dorsey, best dressed man in cycling. He's retained his title. As in comes Stevens. So Stevens coming through the line. He's going to be ahead of Steve Hilbert. Hilbert coming through. He's coming through just about 5 seconds behind. So good ride by Steve Hilbert. Yeah, again. Let's jump in with Wallace. Wallace being our next rider through towards the line. There's going to be a little bit of a gap back to our next two. This is going to be a lone rider and Michael Hutchinson. This is going to be Kooslugs himself. So Kooslugs in the red with the flat cap on. The man in black on the Tron Bike Lone Rider. One of the riders who's been with us from the very, very start has... Lone rider doesn't always get the attention he deserves, I must admit. And another rider putting in a great ride here. As he comes in, you can just see the moon rising. It's not the Death Star or anything, Daft, don't worry. Planet will still be here in a little while. As on the way into the line comes Hutchinson and Lone Rider into the last 150 metres. Who's going to take this out? Hutchinson just kicking hard here. Lone Rider's accelerating up. Not sure he's got the sprint power to match him. He kicks in, but it's going to be Kooslugs who comes through. You've got to key it up for that sprint early. The reaction time is so tight on there. If you wait until you hit that beacon, it's too late. Next up is going to be Woodall putting in a great ride, getting distanced off the back, but putting in a fast ride. Then it's going to be Bobby Mason coming through. Brad Cheeseman is not all that far behind, and I think Brad in this little pack here, it's two riders, Sean Ferron, who we're watching leading this out. It should be Ferron with the Tron Bike. He's going to lead Brad Cheeseman in and through, so it's going to be Ferron. Then it's going to be Cheeseman behind him. Then it's going to be between these two riders. This is Cannon with Ted on his heels. We're going to have a little bit of a gap after them. We're going to try and jump in with Russ at that point. So we'll watch these two come through. So Cannon and Ted together as they come in towards the line at the moment. You can just see Ted at the moment. Is he going to be able to outsprint Cannon? It's not going to be long till they hit that beacon. It's 150 metres. Once these two are through, we'll jump back to Russ and then back into the group behind. But this is going to be between Ted and Cannon. Good sprint coming up here. Ted's going to lead this out, I think, here as he's kicking in nearly 8 watts per kilo, 8.7 watts per kilo. The numbers have gone up. He's got the gap. So it's going to be Ted followed by Cannon coming through the line. Behind them, Cannon is just in front of a chasing pack behind. Let's jump in with Russ. Russ, how are you doing? Are you in one piece?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, really good.
Yeah,
just getting stick from Darryl TW. He reckons I bullied him and didn't give him a turn and then out sprinted him. But I said, yeah, it's life.
It is life, isn't it? That'll serve him right. It was pretty brutal stuff and a great sprint there between and great ride by Craig Genther along with Pete Drabble.
Yeah, I've seen them guys going off in the distance. I couldn't do anything about it, and I definitely couldn't see him sprinting at the end. I was concentrating on my own little time. Honestly, Darryl was going well. I tried to give him some turns and then he'd just take me straight back off. So we were going like 4s, 5s, and then he just ripped me. I said, typical sprinter, sees the finish line, extra 100 watts right there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we're probably going to see the same here if these riders get the timing right. It's a really quick run in, isn't it? It's very hard actually to get the timing right because you've only got 150 metres from that green beacon.
Yeah, I think I hit it just before that, and I knew Darryl wouldn't, couldn't, shouldn't sprint. So yeah, it was all good fun. But I hope everyone enjoyed that because I did. The pace was good, the tempo on the climbs, and then just saying to Darryl there, the message, it's probably the best I've felt online for a while. So I think thanks for letting me have that one off last week. I think I was just Zwift overloaded, to be honest.
Well, I'm not surprised. It's not just obviously on the Chaingang that you're on Zwift as well. And it does show you do need to. A break is as important as riding a lot of the time, and it can make a huge difference. But we're going to get quite a complement of riders in. Interestingly, I think it's fractured a lot more than normal due to that big double climb and then the big double descent.
Yeah, I think that the gravel climb just bogs you, doesn't it? And if you lose the wheel, it's so hard to come back, and then you can't get back. There's no sort of regrouping. You know, that descent's downhill, obviously, but there's no way of getting back. It's dusty, which honestly, we joke about saying, "Oh, I can't see anything, it's dusty," and we can so easily lose the wheel. Like in real life, you got your eyes shut, that's it, it's game over.
Yep.
So yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's an interesting route, and I think we've got plenty more research and plenty more miles and kilometres to do on the Makuri Islands. But like we did with this one, we want to make sure it's tested to destruction before we let it loose on the Chaingang, and it's all part of the work that's done in the background. And we've got to say a massive thank you to the guys who are part of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. Without their support, Russ and I just couldn't put this kind of time in.
No, you know, it's not just done overnight now. You know, we've just sat down and done 3 weeks of links in advance. So it's, you know, that takes time. It's not a matter of just jotting them down. Like we say, we like to have a banner, so that only have to add plus all the maths is not my strong point, but we finally get there on building these routes. It's all time consuming.
Yeah, definitely.
Glad everyone loves it.
Yep, it's got to ride right, it's got to feel right, it's got to hold together. We want some of the days to be tougher than others, and there is a bigger plan behind the routes than just what's great fun to ride, and that takes us and myself far too many Ks on Zwift and far too many years on Zwift, that's for sure. So don't forget, of course, we've got the women's Chaingang. That's going to be coming up soon. We're going to be releasing those dates hopefully tomorrow on a Wednesday, oddly enough. And just seeing Martin Bolt on his way. So Martin doing another good ride here. And keep them dug in there.
Yeah, we've stopped hour and 30 minutes for a solid 44k. It's not going bad, is it?
No, and it's hard. I mean, it's so slow on that gravel. It's interminable.
Conditions tonight, you know, red hot. You know, everyone's heart rate will have been, it's your max is your max, but you're going to be 10 beats or so above what you normally are there. So just get plenty of fluids down, you guys, and we'll be good for an old school on Thursday, I think we've got, but I won't say too much. We'll keep that one.
Yep, definitely, and sadly I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be at Brands Hatch for a 12-hour relay I'm on the mic for, so I'm going for my own little marathon whilst everybody's riding around in what promises to be very, very hot weather. So going to be very entertaining. I don't think anybody's going to be sprinting like Chris Darby did at the end there. So Chris, our red beacon, comes through just ahead of Ken Kerrigan. Russ, we're going to let you get some recovery, get some cold beers or maybe even an ice cream down your neck.
Yeah, it's getting a regular occurrence, this one off, one on, isn't it? This Thursday night thing, so we'll just keep swapping it around.
Don't tempt me. Oh,
We're getting too busy, mate.
I don't know about that. We've got the whole winter ahead of us. It's you've got to get your gaps in early. Definitely, that's what I'm working on. All right, Russ.
Flat stick.
That's the one. I'll catch up with you soon, and thank you very much, Russ.
Yeah, well done, gang, and see you next week. It's Thursday, sorry.
Well, Russ, indeed, we'll see everybody on Thursday. I'm not here, and the broadcast won't be coming out on Thursday, but we'll be back on Tuesday. Keep an eye on Facebook for Women's Only Wednesdays. I will say it. I've wrote it. I should be able to say it. Women's Only Wednesdays. Donny Chaingang. Wow, DCG. Dear, how good is that? In the meantime, from me, Matt Payne, from everybody out on the Chaingang. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch up with you. I'll catch up with you Thursday, and I'm sure Russ will see you all on Thursday out on another of the Donny Chaingangs.